There is a strength in you that you've forgotten. A fire, once alive and burning, now buried under layers of fear, doubt, and the noise of everyday survival. Maybe life didn't go the way you planned. Maybe it hit harder than you ever expected. Maybe somewhere along the way, you started to believe that you're not strong enough, that you're not capable, that you're not like those people, the ones who seem to have it all together, who never fall apart, who always bounce back. But here's the truth, no one tells you loudly enough, those people don't exist. Every single person who looks strong from the outside has been through something that forced them to become that way. Strength is not given, it's grown. It's not loud, it's quiet. It doesn't shout, it doesn't show off. It endures, it perseveres, it speaks only when necessary, and when it does it speaks with the kind of weight that can shake the ground. You see, strength isn't built in the light, it's born in the dark, in the quiet, in the lonely places, when no one's cheering. When no one sees you getting back up, when you have every reason to give up and you choose not to, that's strength. And I'm willing to bet you've had those moments. You've survived storms you never imagined facing. You've woken up with a heavy heart and still kept going. You've carried pain no one knows about and still managed to smile. That is proof. You don't need to become strong. You already are, you just forgot. The world doesn't teach you how to remember your strength. It teaches you how to hide it, to compare it, to trade it for approval, to shrink it to make others comfortable, but not here. This message, this moment is different. This is your reminder, your mirror, your wake-up call. Because the strength you're looking for isn't somewhere far away. It's inside you. It always has been. So if you feel like giving up, don't. If you feel like you're too broken, you're not. If you feel like you've lost your way, breathe. You're not starting from nothing. You're starting from experience, from resilience, from truth. And truth never dies, it waits, and now it's time to remember. We often misunderstand what strength really looks like. We think it has to be loud, fearless, invincible. We imagine strong people as those who never cry, never hesitate, never fall. But true strength is quieter than that. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't demand to be noticed. True strength shows itself in the small moments when no one is watching. It lives in the decision to keep going, not because you feel strong, but because you know you must. It's in the mother who gets up every day for her kids even when she's emotionally exhausted. It's in the young man who chooses not to let his past define him. It's in the person who battles depression but still gets out of bed, still tries, still hopes, even when hope feels like a distant memory. That's real strength, honest, raw, unpolished. The kind of strength that gets overlooked because it doesn't always look impressive, but it's there and it matters. You don't have to prove your strength to the world by never showing weakness. In fact, pretending to be invulnerable is not strength at all, it's fear wearing a mask. Real strength is not about being uncheckable. It's about feeling the shake and choosing to stay grounded anyway. It's about saying, This hurts. This is hard. But I'm not giving up, because strength is not the absence of emotion. It's the ability to feel deeply and keep moving forward anyway. You've probably gone through things that people will never understand. You've carried burdens silently, fought battles privately, smiled while breaking on the inside, and through it all, you kept going. That is something powerful. That is something worth honoring. You may not have medals or trophies to show for it, but you've earned something more meaningful: inner resilience, character, grit. The kind of unshakable self-belief that only comes from struggle. So stop comparing your journey to someone else's highlight reel. Stop thinking you have to be loud to be powerful. You don't need to shout to be heard. Sometimes, the quietest strength speaks the loudest. The way you keep showing up matters. The way you carry yourself with grace in chaos matters. The way you choose kindness even when life hasn't been kind to you, that matters more than any external success ever could. And remember this: you don't become strong by avoiding difficulty. You become strong by walking through it, by learning to breathe even when the air feels heavy, by choosing to keep believing in yourself when it feels like the world has stopped believing in you. That's the kind of strength that transforms lives, not just yours, but the lives of those around you. People are watching, quietly, secretly, drawing courage from your persistence, finding inspiration in your resilience. Your strength creates space for others to discover their own. So no, you don't need to be loud. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to keep showing up, day after day, moment by moment. Because that quiet, steady strength inside you, that's the kind that builds legacies. That's the kind that changes the world, and it's already yours. It's easy to underestimate yourself when you're always focused on what's still ahead, the goals you haven't reached, the person you haven't become, the distance you still have to go. But stop for a moment, look back, not to live in the past, but to truly see how far you've already come. We often forget the battles we've already won because we're so consumed by the ones we're still fighting. But there was a time when what you have now seemed impossible. There was a version of you that dreamed of the strength you carry today. The truth is, you've already survived so much. You've been through days that broke you open, and somehow, you managed to get back up. You've carried pain you didn't think you could bear, and yet you're still standing. That matters. That's proof. Life doesn't hand out applause for inner progress. There's no celebration for emotional resilience or quiet victories. No one throws a party when you choose healing over revenge or growth over bitterness. But those moments, those invisible choices are the ones that define who you are becoming. And I promise you, you are becoming someone powerful. You may not feel it every day. In fact, most days, it will feel like you're barely holding on. But strength isn't about feeling ready. It's about continuing even when you don't. It's about trusting that what you're doing today, the small steps, the tiny efforts, the moments where you choose courage over comfort, they're adding up to something greater than you can yet imagine. Don't dismiss your progress just because it's not dramatic. Don't overlook your growth just because it's slow. Progress doesn't always look like big milestones. Sometimes it looks like not reacting the way you used to. It looks like setting boundaries you used to let others cross. It looks like getting out of bed when you used to stay under the covers. It looks like showing up to life even when you feel like hiding. That's progress, and it deserves to be acknowledged. You're not the same person you were a year ago, a month ago, or even a week ago. You're evolving, quietly, steadily, in ways you may not even see yet, and yes, you still have fears. You still have flaws, you still carry doubt. But you also have strength, you have wisdom. You have more experience than you give yourself credit for. Life has tried to break you and it hasn't. That alone speaks volumes about who you are. So give yourself credit, give yourself grace. Stop measuring your value by what's still missing. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are healing. You are rising. You are further than you think, and if you keep moving, one honest, imperfect step at a time, you will go further than you ever believed possible. The road ahead is not just about chasing some version of success. It's about honoring the strength it took to get here, and trusting that the strength you already have is enough to take you even further. You've made it through every single hard day life has thrown at you. That's not luck. That's resilience. That's character. That's proof. So no matter how tired you are, no matter how long the journey still seems, don't stop now. You've come too far, and whether you realize it yet or not, you are stronger than you think. Pain is something we all try to avoid. We run from it, numb it, bury it. We convince ourselves that if we just stay busy enough, distracted enough, strong enough, we won't have to feel it. But pain doesn't disappear when you ignore it, it waits. It settles in the corners of your heart and your memory until one day it demands to be faced. But here's the truth no one ever says with compassion: pain is not your enemy, it is your teacher. It's one of the few things in life that forces you to grow, to confront yourself, to rise beyond what you believed you were capable of. And although pain can break you, it can also build you, if you let it. Some of the strongest, most grounded, most compassionate people you will ever meet have walked through deep suffering. They didn't become wise by avoiding pain. They became wise by surviving it, by listening to what it had to say, by allowing it to shape them instead of destroy them. Pain humbles you. It strips away the illusion that you're in control, that everything is permanent, that life owes you something. And in that emptiness, something honest is born. That's where strength is found. The pain you've endured was not meaningless. It was not wasted. Every tear, every heartbreak, every failure, it all shaped you. It refined you. It taught you to value things that truly matter. It helped you grow deeper roots so that when the next storm came, you wouldn't be so easily shaken. You may not have chosen the pain, but you do get to choose what it becomes. Will it harden you or heal you? Will it make you bitter or better? Will it close your heart or open it wider than it was before? No one escapes this life without pain, but the difference lies in how we carry it. You can carry it like a weight that drags you down, or you can carry it like a stone in your pocket, a reminder of everything you've overcome. You are not weak for hurting. You are not broken because you still feel the sting of things that happened years ago. Healing is not a straight line. Some days you'll feel like you've moved on, and then out of nowhere, the grief or the fear or the memories will rise again. That's okay. That's human. Growth is not about eliminating pain, it's about learning to move with it, to make space for it, to allow it to stretch you in ways nothing else could. Some of your greatest wisdom will come from the wounds you once wished away. Some of your most meaningful connections will grow from shared pain, shared healing, shared humanity. There is power in pain because it softens you in the right places. It teaches you to listen more closely, to love more deeply, to appreciate more fully, and it reminds you that you're still alive. You may not see it yet, but the pain you've endured is already working for you. It's already growing strength where there was once weakness. It's already planting seeds of compassion where there used to be walls. Don't let your pain be the end of your story. Let it be the turning point, the part where you rise. The part where you discover just how powerful you truly are, not in spite of your pain, but because of it. So the next time you feel broken, remember broken soil grows the best crops. Broken clouds bring the rain. Broken hearts can still beat strong. You are not less because you've suffered. You are more. More aware, more human, more whole than you've ever been. Because pain, when embraced not feared, becomes power. And that power is already inside you. Fear is a master of illusion. It whispers with authority, as if it speaks truth, but most of the time, it's a liar wearing the mask of logic. Fear tells you that you're not enough, that you're too far gone, too damaged, too late. It repeats the same false message over and over again until you start to believe it, that you're broken beyond repair. But hear this clearly, you are not broken, you are not defective, you are not some failed version of who you were meant to be. What you are is human, complex, growing, unfolding, healing. You are not a finished product, and you are never supposed to be. Fear loves to point to your mistakes and call them proof of your failure. It reminds you of the times you fell short, the relationships that ended, the chances you didn't take, the dreams you abandoned. But what fear doesn't tell you is that mistakes don't make you broken, they make you real. They make you wise. They make you relatable, compassionate, grounded. They remind you that living fully means occasionally falling hard. That trying, even when it doesn't work out, is braver than staying safely on the sidelines. Fear wants you to sit still. But growth requires motion, progress requires risk. Becoming who you're meant to be requires pushing past what fear says is possible. There is nothing wrong with you because you're still figuring it out. There is no shame in being a work in progress. In fact, that's what strength looks like, being willing to keep showing up, to keep building, to keep trying even after you've failed. You are not supposed to have all the answers. You are not supposed to be perfect. You are supposed to be real. And being real means being vulnerable, uncertain, messy at times. But it also means being alive, fully alive. You may have scars. You may carry regrets. You may still feel the ache of what you've lost. But none of that makes you less. It makes you layered. Rich with experience. It gives you depth. It gives your story weight. And it gives your presence power. Because when you walk through the world knowing that you are whole even when you've been hurt, you give others permission to believe the same. You are not your fear. You are not the voice in your head telling you that you're unworthy. You are not defined by the worst thing that ever happened to you. You are not the anxious thoughts that loop endlessly through your mind late at night. You are the one who hears those thoughts and chooses to stand up anyway. You are the one who walks forward with shaking legs. You are the one who keeps believing that things can get better, even when fear insists otherwise. And that makes you powerful beyond measure. Your strength is not loud because it doesn't have to be. It lives in your quiet decisions. It lives in your refusal to give up. It lives in the moments when you feel broken. But act like you're whole, not to fake it, but because you're fighting your way back to truth. And the truth is this: you were never broken. You were always becoming. Fear will keep talking. That's its nature. But you don't have to listen anymore. You've heard its lies. You've followed its path. Now it's time to write a different story, one built on courage, on self-worth, on truth. You are not broken. You are enough. You are already whole. You are already strong. You just need to stop believing the lies and start remembering the truth that's been inside you all along. There's a certain kind of strength that doesn't show up in triumph, it shows up in the aftermath of defeat. It's the strength that rises, not with celebration, but with silence. It's the strength that lives in resilience, the decision, often quiet and unseen, to begin again. Anyone can keep going when everything is working. But true courage is found in those who choose to start over, not because they have to, but because something inside them refuses to quit. Life will knock you down. It's not a question of if, it's when. You will lose people. You will lose opportunities. You will lose versions of yourself you thought would last forever. Life will knock you down. It's not a question of if, it's when. You will lose people. You will lose opportunities. You will lose versions of yourself you thought would last forever. Not because it's easy, but because deep down, something inside you whispers, try again. Resilience isn't flashy. It doesn't always look brave. Sometimes it looks like brushing your teeth after 3 days of lying in bed. Sometimes it looks like making one phone call. Sometimes it looks like showing up to work when your heart is in pieces. Sometimes it's simply breathing through one more hour of grief, anxiety, confusion. Resilience is not the absence of struggle. It is the willingness to struggle with intention, to fall and rise and fall again, knowing that each time you are a little stronger, a little wiser, a little more ready. You've had chapters in your life that ended in heartbreak, but you kept going. You've had moments when everything you built fell apart, but you kept going. You've walked through seasons of darkness and doubt and despair, and somehow you found your way through. That is resilience, and that is strength. You've walked through seasons of darkness and doubt and despair, and somehow you found your way through. That is resilience, and that is strength. Sometimes the greatest act of power is simply refusing to stay down. Choosing to begin again doesn't mean you forget what happened. It means you carry the lessons, but you refuse to carry the shame. It means you honor what was lost, but you don't let it define what's still possible. Resilience is not about pretending everything's fine. It's about accepting the reality and deciding you're still worthy of building something new. You are not weak for needing a fresh start. You are not broken because something didn't work out. Starting over is not failure. It is the proof that you believe in your future more than you fear repeating your past. Each time you choose to rise again, to breathe again, to care again, you are reclaiming your power. And with every restart, you come back not as the same person, but as someone stronger. So when life brings you to your knees, when all your plans collapse and the path ahead feels unclear, don't give up, pause, breathe, rest if you must, but know this, you can begin again. And beginning again, even when you're tired, even when you're scared, even when you don't know what the future holds, that is the clearest proof that strength lives inside you. Resilience isn't about how many times you fall. It's about how many times you're willing to rise. And you, even now, have everything you need to rise again. Sometimes the only thing standing between you and the life you dream of is belief in yourself, in your worth, in your ability to overcome. The truth is, no matter how gifted you are, how experienced, how well prepared, if you don't believe in yourself, you will hesitate. You will hold back. You will shrink when you're meant to rise. Self-belief is not arrogance. It's not pretending to be perfect. It's not shouting to the world that you have all the answers. It is the quiet, steady conviction that says, I may not know everything, but I will figure it out. I may not be there yet, but I have what it takes to get there. That belief is power. That belief is fuel.
Many people go through life waiting for permission, waiting for someone else to see their potential before they believe it's real. But you don't need permission to believe in yourself.
You don't need applause or a title or someone else's approval. In fact, the most powerful belief comes from within, from the part of you that has survived failure, that has lived through disappointment and still whispers, I'm not done. Self-belief doesn't mean you never doubt. It doesn't mean you never question yourself. It means that even in the presence of doubt, you choose to keep going. You choose to back yourself again and again, even when it feels like the odds are against you. Because deep down, you know this. If you don't believe in you, who will? But true courage is found in those who choose to start over, not because they have to, but because something inside them refuses to quit. The world can only meet you as deeply as you've met yourself. The world can only see what you show it, and if you constantly hide your light out of fear or insecurity, you rob not only yourself, but everyone around you of what you were meant to give. There's something magnetic about someone who believes in themselves, not because they're the loudest or the flashiest, but because they carry an energy of quiet certainty. They know their value. They know their story, and they're not afraid to stand in it. That kind of self-belief isn't built overnight. It's built in small moments, in choosing to speak up when your voice shakes, in trying again after you've failed, in honoring your instincts when no one else understands. It's built in solitude, in struggle, in silence, and once it's there, it becomes uncheckable. Think of the dreams you've shelved, the ideas you abandoned because someone told you it was unrealistic, the parts of you you've hidden because you feared judgment, the time you spent trying to be smaller, quieter, easier to accept. Now ask yourself, what would happen if I believed in myself fully and without apology? But true courage is found in those who choose to start over, not because they have to, but because something inside them refuses to quit. What would I dare to do if I stopped waiting for others to tell me I'm good enough? The truth is, no dream begins with external validation. Every breakthrough, every invention, every movement began with someone who dared to believe in their vision before anyone else could see it. That person can be you. That belief can be yours. You don't need to wait for a sign. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take the next step. And then the one after that, because belief is not a destination, it's a decision you make, again and again, until the world has no choice but to catch up with your truth. You are stronger than you think, and you are more capable than you give yourself credit for. There is a version of you that already exists, a version that leads, that shines, that steps fully into purpose. That version is waiting, and the bridge that leads to it is self-belief. You build that bridge with every act of courage, every moment of honesty, every time you choose to trust yourself. You don't need to be fearless, you just need to be willing. So stop questioning whether you're enough. You are. Stop asking if you're ready. You are. Stop waiting for someone else to see you. You see you, and that's where everything begins. We live in a world that worships perfection. Everywhere you look, there are filtered images, curated lives, flawless presentations. We are surrounded by the illusion that everyone else has it all together, that success is smooth and strength is polished. But that's not real, and deep down, you know it. The truth is that some of the most powerful people you'll ever meet are the ones who carry scars. The ones who have failed, fallen, broken, and still stood back up. Their strength doesn't come from perfection. It comes from resilience, from authenticity, from being brave enough to show up imperfect and still give their best. You don't have to wait until you've fixed everything before you take your next step. You don't need to be flawless to be worthy. You don't have to have it all figured out to begin. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to move forward exactly as you are, messy, uncertain, human. There is beauty in the unfinished. There is wisdom in the cracked places. There is strength in the story that's still being written. Think about this. When have you ever truly been inspired by someone who was perfect? Isn't it the people who struggled and kept going that move your heart? Isn't it the stories of those who faced fear, who lived through loss, who made mistakes and learned from them? Aren't those the stories that stay with you? That's because perfection isn't what makes people powerful. It's their willingness to be real, their courage to be seen, even when they feel exposed. That's what we connect to. That's what lifts us up. You don't need to wear a mask. You don't need to hide your flaws. In fact, your imperfection might be the exact thing someone else needs to see, so they can feel brave enough to step into their own life more fully. You might be someone's proof that it's okay to be imperfect and still move forward. That it's okay to feel scared and still try. That it's okay to carry pain and still show up with purpose. Real strength isn't found in pretending everything's fine. It's found in facing the truth and choosing to live fully anyway. It's found in the moment you say, "I'm not okay right now, but I'm not giving up." It's found in your honesty, in your softness, in your fierce refusal to abandon yourself when life gets hard. You don't need to fix yourself to be worthy of love. You don't need to achieve something massive to be respected. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You already are powerful because you're still here, because you keep showing up, because you have the courage to continue, even when it's hard. That is real power. So drop the weight of perfection. Let go of the need to prove yourself. You don't owe anyone a flawless performance. What you owe yourself is truth, wholeness, compassion, and movement. You owe it to yourself to live fully, not perfectly. Give yourself permission to be human. Give yourself space to stumble. Give yourself grace when you fall, and most importantly, give yourself credit for how far you've come, not just for the wins, but for the effort, for the healing, for the courage to keep trying. You don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You just have to be real, and real is more than enough. There's a quiet kind of courage that doesn't make headlines. It doesn't come with applause or recognition. It's the courage of showing up, day after day, even when progress is slow. Even when the finish line is nowhere in sight. Even when you feel like you're crawling instead of running. But here's the truth: forward is forward. And movement, no matter how small, is still progress. So many people give up, not because they've failed, but because they've convinced themselves that they're not moving fast enough. In a world obsessed with speed, hustle, and overnight success, it's easy to feel like you're behind, like you're not doing enough, like you're not good enough. But strength isn't measured by speed. It's measured by consistency, by determination, by your willingness to take one more step, even when you're tired, even when no one is watching, even when it feels like nothing is changing. Progress doesn't always look like giant leaps or perfect plans. Sometimes it's just getting out of bed when you'd rather stay under the covers. Sometimes it's choosing to breathe through anxiety instead of letting it win. Sometimes it's opening your heart again after it's been broken. And sometimes it's simply deciding to try again, even after yesterday didn't go the way you hoped. You don't need to move like anyone else. You're not in a race. You're on a path that is yours alone. The only comparison that matters is between who you were yesterday and who you are becoming today. Are you trying? Are you growing? Are you learning to show yourself more compassion? Then you're doing enough, more than enough. Real change is slow. It's quiet. It happens in the background while you're doing the work, even when you can't see the results yet. It builds over time, moment by moment, choice by choice. And one day, you'll look back and realize that you're no longer standing in the same place. You've moved, you've grown, you've evolved. Not because of a single breakthrough, but because you kept walking even when it was hard. Don't let impatience rob you of the progress you're making. Don't let comparison convince you to quit. You don't have to sprint. You don't have to do it all today. You just have to take the next step. And then the next. Tiny movements, repeated with intention, create powerful transformation. That's how mountains are climbed. That's how healing happens. That's how lives are changed. Your journey will have days when you feel stuck, when the steps are so small they feel meaningless. But they're not. Every small effort adds up. Every moment you choose growth, even in discomfort, you are building momentum. You are shaping a stronger version of yourself, one that's rooted in resilience, not rush. So if all you can do today is take one step, take it. If all you can do is breathe and hold on, do that. If you need to move slower, but do not stop. Because no matter how slow you go, as long as you keep moving forward, you are winning. You are healing, you are growing, and you are becoming. Your strength isn't in how fast you get there, it's in the fact that you refuse to give up. And that is more than enough. As we come to the end of this journey, take a moment, breathe, reflect. You've just walked through a reminder not of who you should be, but of who you already are. Beneath the noise, beneath the fear, beneath every moment of doubt, there is a version of you that is incredibly strong. And that strength has always been there. Maybe you've forgotten it. Maybe life tried to bury it. Maybe the world made you question it, but it never left. You are stronger than you think, not because life has been easy, but because you're still here. You've carried weights that others didn't see. You've battled storms in silence, and yet you rise again and again. Strength doesn't always roar, sometimes it whispers. It says, just one more day. It says, this is hard, but I'm not giving up. It says, I don't know how I'll do it, but I'll find a way. That's real strength. The kind that isn't always praised or recognized, but it's there, steady, unshakable, rooted in experience and truth. That strength lives in you. You've learned now that you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need to move fast or do things like anyone else. All you need is honesty, intention, willingness. You've seen how powerful it is to believe in yourself, to take small steps forward, to stand back up after you fall. That's the kind of strength that transforms lives not overnight, but over time, quietly, faithfully, relentlessly. So if ever again you find yourself doubting, return to this truth. You are not your fear. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are potential. You are possibility. You are power. Even when you don't feel like it, even when you're tired, even when you want to give up, your strength is not conditional. It's not based on the approval of others. It's not measured by success or failure. Your strength is who you are, especially in the moments when everything in you wants to stop, but you keep going anyway. Let this be your reminder. You are allowed to struggle, but you are not allowed to quit on yourself. You are allowed to rest, but you are not meant to give up. You are allowed to cry, to fall, to question, but always remember to rise, because there's more waiting for you. There's purpose, there's growth, there's love. There's life, but above all, there is you, the truest, most powerful version of you waiting to be lived out fully, unapologetically, courageously. The world doesn't need a perfect version of you. It needs a real one. It needs your heart, your story, your voice, your strength. Not the one you perform, but the one you embody. The one that's been earned through experience. The one that's been shaped by fire and refined by time. So go forward, not with pressure, but with peace. Not with fear, but with faith. And remember, no matter what comes next, no matter what you face, you are already enough. You are already capable. You are already strong. You are stronger than you think. You always have been. You always will be.